Hey, what's going on tonight? And welcome to WMC Episode 2, World Makers Consortium. And you're probably like, what the hell is a World Makers Consortium? It's you guys. It's everybody, whether you're in the trade route, whether you're like a leave me the hell alone type of person, you just want to build your stuff. We just want to share it. We want to talk about it and just build up this great community that we're all involved in. So now I won't waste a lot of time, and here is my co-host, Wentzilla. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Good, man. Oh, I haven't talked to you like hardly all week, man. I've been so busy with just crap, but
yeah.
What's new and exciting?
I think just that I think Barbados is about 90% complete behind me here, so that's about it. So
nice.
Working on a new area.
Yeah, and I'm gonna turn my main open air bar thing into Barbados as well. And I'm sure everybody's aware of by now, but I've got these Zerg robots behind me, and all the Lightyear stuff is like super on sale on Amazon. So it's like I bought like 4 of these guys. I'm gonna turn them into Sentinels or something. But yeah, so there's lots of deals to be had. It will be, dude. And then I think Dom already did it over on his channel. He had a Sentinel head for the Zerg. I don't know. I forget where he got it from. But
who's that guy?
Anyway, let's bring on our guest for tonight. So our guest for tonight is Famine Studios. What's going on, man? Thanks for coming on.
What's going on, guys? Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. We're doing it here. How's everybody on the Friday night?
At least it's not the Phantom Menace.
That's true.
I got a lot of love in my heart for the Phantom Menace, man. I can't lie.
Oh, dude, last week with my connection, it felt like the Phantom Menace. I was like, it was just like, but it's much better now. But
it's how episode 1 would always be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, why would it go perfectly, right? Why would it go perfectly? There's no force in the universe that would make it go smoothly. But it's still a good show, anyways. But yeah, we got like the usual suspects in the chat here. Hey, man, what's going on? Fatback Station, what's going on?
What's up, Fatback?
We also have Outer Multiverse. He was our guest last week. Check out his stuff. And this is the reason for all of us ripping down our setups right now. We got Starboy Station in our in the chat. Utah Dawn's here. Hey, man, how's it going?
Hey, what's up, man? Hey, he had he showed off his area that he had the beer logos. I believe it was him. I don't know if I think he tagged us both in it, so it's pretty cool.
Oh, I think I did see that, yeah. But we got Playing with 375 here. So yeah, everybody, thanks for coming out. And
Playing with 375, the logo maker himself, man. He's got a bunch of ideas, man. I just haven't had a chance to even really go into it with him. I was like, those all look good, man. I've been so dang busy. It's like,
oh yeah, well, those kegs should be on. I shipped those kegs out this week, so you should have them. I was hoping by today, but
that would have been perfect for the show and stuff. But that's not how it works for us, man. It's like, it's no.
Just roll with the punches, man. Roll with the punches.
That's
all right.
it.
So Famine Studios, welcome onto the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Now's your time to say hello to anybody or plug whatever you're doing. Just tell us a little bit about your channel and stuff like that.
Oh, shout out hello to my girlfriend, I think is watching right now.
So you have to do a shout out because she's watching. That's fine.
As far as things that I'm doing, we've recently just wrapped up a community challenge on my YouTube channel, and it is by far the fastest growing video that I put out. It was a $10 budget build. The whole deal was you could use, if you had $10 you wanted to use it, or you could use trash, things that you had, but you had to keep the budget under $10. And we had some absolutely remarkable people just make amazing speeders. And that was the whole crux of it, was let's do speeders out of trash, out of parts that we have, things that have been sitting there. Let's put it to use, and let's also show people you can world build and you can build vehicles for your toys and not cost a fortune. It doesn't need to cost an arm and a leg. You don't have to always pay other customizers. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I do that myself personally, but sometimes it's nice to just get your hands dirty, get in there with the super glue and the cardboard and the plastic containers, put things together. Take that Jeep that you bought at a yard sale, it was missing 2 tires, and put it to work for something else. So just wrapped up that video. I'm getting ready to release the next project, the next community challenge. That's going to be coming out, I want to say, before Wednesday. I have the rules written down. I just have to come up with how I want to present this one, because I don't want to do it like the last one. I want to do it differently, a little bit different each time. So we got that.
Hey, I loved the video, man. I love the way you cut it, like with everyone jumping in and throwing their little part in. It was a short video, so it wasn't short, but it was enough where I could take a break and watch it. I didn't have to like get ready, sit, you know what I mean? Like it was 11, 12, like around 11 minutes. So it was
right
nice.
Under 11 minutes, which is like it's the sweet spot for YouTube, let's be honest, but also it didn't need to be a lot of explaining, because if people watch my channel, all the things that I personally was doing, I've done in other videos. If there's something groundbreaking or whatever, I'll toss it in there. Thanks, Jason. I'm going to speak about you in a moment. All good stuff. You know, tossing
like this mother. No.
But being able to show, to show the things that I'm doing, and then also include those clips. And I had a blast editing them and doing the voices, and that was just a trip, because I'm trying out like 5 or 6 different voices to try and get the right ones, modulate the pitches. And I did those. So that was a super fun project. But another thing that I'm working on here is Jason Jensen from Jason Jensen Trains, who just popped in the chat. He just released a line of fantastic sci-fi world building kits. And also he just released a video of 2 actual diorama kits that he has. So not only is he selling, 3D printed pieces and resin pieces that are, world building accessories that you can put all over your dioramas. I was painting today before Rads messaged me and was like, hey, where's the pictures? So they're phenomenal. I recommend that you check that out if you are in the market for it, or you just want to see some awesome stuff and have something in the back of your head for when you're ready to start putting your world together. JasonJensenTrains.com and hit the sci-fi link, and they're really, really good. And he sent over some awesome stuff. So I can't wait to put that to use in videos and also over here in Gimmick.
Yeah, I love that video with the speeders, and I tried to participate, and I ended up grabbing this, what the hell was it, Animal Planet submarine, and I was going to make it into a speeder, but then that one I posted, and then it turned into like this Planet Express like retro hot rod ship, and I was like, the deadline anyways. But now that this like the thrill of the 3D printer, now that I've had to do maintenance on it, that's kind of fading. So I'm getting back into like my the getting right back
junkyard dog stuff. Yeah.
So now that the 3D printer, like the thrill of it's kind of worn off, and it's like, oh, now I got to do maintenance, and this blows, and like, so kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know, I fixate on things like that. But yeah, no, definitely that speeder, and I love how you do the challenges. And I'm gonna try and jump into the next one. My schedule.
I'm going in the next one, dude. Like, cause I had no idea until like the end. Once I think Famine brought it up, and we were talking about it in one of our chats, and I was like, oh man, I didn't even hear about it till now. And now like the whole room was destroyed. Starboy, thank you. But yeah, the whole room was destroyed. So I was like, I couldn't even do anything right now if I wanted to, but I'm definitely jumping in on the next one for sure.
Yeah, it's fun. And people were sending me like their work in progress photos and whatnot. And that was super cool to like get the behind the scenes. Like on my end, I'm doing it, I'm filming it, but I don't get to see what other makers, unless they have a YouTube channel where they disclose that. I don't get to see how people's processes are and what they do. So having people message me like, yo, fam, check this out. I took apart this, soap dispenser, and it's like, wow, I might not have thought of that. That's really cool. And, it was just a great way to talk with members of the community and find an inexpensive way, because that's what I like to do. Like, I don't like to dump a bunch of money into this. I can dump it on other things, but I also have the best time of my life doing this. So save money where I can. Why not do it that way?
Yeah.
Yeah. And and I like that too, but I kind of laugh at like my traditional, like some of my friends are those traditional collectors where, they're hitting Value Village, thrift all the time, trying to find like old Robin Hood figures or whatever. But it's kind of funny because they're always harping about how hard it is to like find anything at thrift. I'm like, oh, I found this, and I'm going to turn it into that, and I'm going to do this, and I found like a whole bag of 3 3/4 figures, and I'll show them the customs, and they're like, whoa, the kind of thing. It's kind of funny, but it's like kind of like a broken record now, because I'm the only one of my friends that actually does like the world building, like in my area. So the rest are all like immaculate museum collection, which is cool too. But not really my jam. And I know Famine, you like, did you start as like a traditional collector? I know you've got some background in like cosplay and stuff like that.
As far as toy collecting goes, I was not traditional in the sense of I kept everything mint on card, but my hobby was essentially opening and just setting them up on a shelf. I'd have my episode 2, figures, episode 1 figures, and kind of have them in a nice display. And what really changed for me is I did this thing with MTV, and they had come in to film here, and the producer said, "Hey," no problem, Jason. The producer said, "Hey, can you rearrange this so it kind of looks more populated and more fleshed out instead of the way I had it?" And I'm like, all right, it's for TV. And when I rearranged it, the show wrapped, and I went and started putting things back. I was like, oh, let me make a little mini scene over here and over there. And I kind of had like a very pre gimmick idea. And I just had like a couple of the Bespin Lukes. So I had all the different pieces that came with the tower from inside of the Death Star Cloud City. And tack those to the wall, things like that. But it was nothing like this. But yeah, I always opened. Same with my Jurassic. I always opened. I did take pictures outside, dinosaurs in the grass and all that stuff. But I wasn't a mint and package collector. I think I have 1 or 2, like the Red Rex that I just got. I still haven't opened that. That may be the one that I keep on card, not to sell or anything in the future. But I'm very nostalgic for Jurassic. It's the 30th anniversary, and that thing's just absolutely gorgeous. So. Yeah.
Right. And I know too, you're not the only station, but I know you incorporate some dinosaurs and stuff like that. And that's kind of, I'm not sure if it was you that started that, but now everybody's kind of rolling with this like dinosaur thing. And then you've got, Zilla Fuels there. That's like dinosaur crap or whatever.
Yeah, man.
It's Gamma. It's Gamma Fuel.
Gamma Fuel.
Yeah, it's Gamma Fuel. So the fuel comes from the gamma that is inside of the dino's poo-poo. So they eat off, because they're eating off of the planet that they're living on. This planet, Amrek Spot, it was an abandoned gamma mining planet. So they're eating that, they're pooping it out. We are reusing it, and it's free. So
I love how bashful he gets whenever he brings it up. He like gets all sheepish. He's like, "Oh, they're eating the planet and they're shitting it out," And
I have like a dump center, like where they can back, like if they're bigger dinosaurs, they can back up into it and just kind of drop into one of the little dumpster things. So yeah,
a dump center.
Yeah,
literally for dumping in.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, guys. Pretty simple over here.
Dinosaur eats, dinosaur poops, spaceship flies. Is that how it works?
And like the spice here is gamma spice, man. Like they got some good stuff over here. It's crazy.
No doubt. Well, we've got like a million pictures here.
Yeah, man. Let's jump into these.
Yeah, the first batch is the ones that I ripped off your Instagram that I thought were interesting, that I wanted to talk about. So anyways, yeah, so we're getting in. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, so I love these like Star Wars customs that you do. Like these just looks like these stormtroopers, they were stationed on a planet and just forgotten about. Like you guys are on your own, like get your own scarves or whatever he's wearing. Like,
right, and like that had to have happened at some point too. Like there's way too many troopers.
It did for sure. It did for sure. Yeah, if you read the expanded universe stuff, there's like stories where there's like zombie stormtroopers, they turn into Rakghoul. Like there's so many awesome stories in the extended universe. But just the weathering on these guys is phenomenal, man.
Thank you. Essentially, with the troopers that are on Gimmick, they came in from the desert, and that's where most people appear from. There's an anomaly that happens in space and time. I don't want to give too much away because I'm actually actively working on the MacGuffin that causes all these wonderful things, because I'm a storyteller and I have to tell the story through physical objects. But they are essentially an Imperial platoon, a unit, what have you, that got dropped on Gimmick by mistake. They got dropped outside of Gimmick. They marched through the desert for days, came on this city. They saw it was kind of overrun with crime on the lower levels, but it has its own higher society on the upper. And they thought, all right, let's just claim this place for the Empire. And it did not go as well as they thought it would. But they managed to carve out a little section that they police and kind of, shake down the locals, get some credits from them for protection, kind of almost like a mob. And they are there, and they're a pest, and there's an uneasy alliance between any of the crime that happens as long as the credits exchange hands and the Empire doesn't come knocking. And actually, some of the doors around the starport have no Imperial Stormtrooper logo, is like, you know, spray painted out like Stormtrooper heads and then just X's through it, because we are very much an FTP station here, and we don't want the cops come knocking. So a lot of the residents will just tell them to come back with a warrant.
Well, I love that lore too. Like, I always love those situations. It was like the movie Predator, where they drop these Marines into a place where they're just like completely screwed, and like one guy gets out. Like, I always loved movies and stories like that, where, you know, you're kind of, the character's placed into like an uncomfortable situation, I guess you would call it. And also, you have yourself on your station too, and this is great. It looks just like you, man.
Thank you. I am actually only 3.5 inches tall, so that works out. But essentially, I wanted to put myself in a gimmick. I wanted to give myself almost the opposite of the story that everybody has. Everybody always like, you know, I'm a Jedi Knight, or, you know, I'm a Sith, you know, Mandalorian, all that other stuff. And I just thought, what if this dude just happened to be really good at getting things for people and can go unnoticed, right? You know, some of you might know the feeling. You're at a party and you might talk to a couple of people and nobody really notices you're there, but you see things happening and you're aware of it. And I thought that's a great ability for someone to tell a story, someone to be a watcher. So that's essentially kind of my avatar that I wanted to put on the planet and have myself to, you know, influence this character. You know, Famine on gimmick is very different than Famine in real life, but also there's a lot of the same things. I wanted it to look like me. I sculpted the facial hair and all that and tried my best to make it match, you know, with the paint and everything, although I am getting grayer and grayer, and I have a new nose piercing now, so I got to figure out how to do that. But I wanted that avatar in there, and it's like the things that I have, the accessories that I have for the character, like the blaster that he has is Jane Cobb's blaster from Firefly. I cosplay Jane, or used to cosplay Jane. That cosplay's been retired, but I have a replica of that blaster. I love that thing. So I thought, okay, perfect choice. You know, everybody around here has some type of weapon on gimmick. It's not a super peaceful place. It's not like, you know, Times Square in New York, where only, you know, real criminal types are carrying. It's much more like the Old West, where everybody, you know, stays strapped or get clapped, because it's a dangerous place. So I figured, give myself a pistol, and I'll give myself the broken Mandalorian gauntlet that he fixed up enough to get the shield generating running off of it. And, you know, from there where it goes, who knows, maybe one day he'll purchase a used set of armor from somebody and fix something up. But in the meantime, just a big dude in a jacket that can easily blend into a crowd. And I like that as a method for storytelling, that he kind of deals in junk and information, and when those two can exchange hands, it makes him a little bit more wealthy, so he can take on the next job. And this is actually the behind you guys, which I don't think I've ever shown on camera aside from like a couple of like photos, but I'm building a separate landing port that's like basically on a rig outside of the skyline of gimmick. It sits, you know, a little bit out of the desert, and it's got landing pads. I have a building that I'm going to be placing in here, and it's going to be the office, the central location of where Famine works, where ships come in. He does a little bit of repair work. He has somebody that works on mechs there that rents out a space below him and just allows the ships to come in if they want to move cargo into the city, but they don't want to be seen, things of that nature.
Yeah, and I love that backstory. I've mentioned that I think on a couple other streams, or maybe on Dom's channel, where it was like obviously, like my avatar, I picked the Mandalorian Jedi, which is like, you know, way OP. But I just find it, and it's like, I just find it unique that you actually like thought to just be like, you know, something else. It's like that guy when you're playing D&D and he wants to be like the thief or the scout or some, you know, some other class that's not a typical one, and that's like super interesting to me. And I just want to thank PLM here. Right on. That's why we keep coming back. You. Eddie, what's going on, man?
What up, Eddie?
Thanks a lot, man. So this next picture.
Edelheim.
Yeah, Edelheim. Yeah, Edelheim.
Edelham.
I don't know.
Well,
instinctually with medieval stuff, I just add Heim or Haim.
Yeah, because I was talking to Rad one day, and he was like, yeah, Eddie, your friend with Edelheim. And I was like, that sounds so much cooler than Edelheim. And the whole time I've been giving Eddie shit about it being ham and like a pig should be on the logo and like all this cool stuff. And he's like, no, no. And then like just for fun, like, yeah. So we were joking about that. But yeah, so it's Edelheim, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, as far as, and he has one in his world too, Avatar, Sergeant Reyes. But I did, Commander Zilla, and it's a little bit more laid back in Amrak. So, like they're all here, they're all full of weapons and everything, but he rarely carries weapons with him unless something's going down. So it's like a safeguard for everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. Like we were talking one night about exporting pigs or something, and then everybody could like in their stations build a slaughterhouse to like process.
That'd be so cool.
That might be too much for some audiences, man. I don't know. But
in Barbados, they have there's like eggs and steak or some type of meat up there, so they're eating it on their plate. Yeah, it's not green. I should have painted it green. Damn it.
Well, there you go. I just added something to your list for you.
Thanks, man.
This next picture I love because this is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. He actually has like, obviously Famine will know this. He has a little cameo in the Phantom Menace, but it's Quinlan Voss. I love this design, man. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, he's my favorite Star Wars character. I really enjoy his lore, and I thought to myself, what if when he winds up on the planet and he winds up in Gimmick, what happened, if he had his memory still. He's there. His apprentice is somewhere within the city, and he's just working to find her. He wound up with Count Dooku's lightsaber instead of his own because he was fighting Count Dooku when the incident happened. And that toy was my first, I was actually inspired by Josh doing the soft goods on figures. I had done like a little scarf on a Final Faction figure, and I was like, neat. And then I never did soft goods again. And then I started working on Quinlan. The body is Hawkeye from one of the Avengers lines. I actually think it was the Civil War Hawkeye.
Yeah.
The head is the animated head because I find it to be more expressive and angular, and that's kind of how I always remember Quinlan is like his head down, higher cheekbones.
You can really tell who the character is with the animated head. Like you don't have to guess. You know what I mean?
And
like,
then
that too, and I know what you're talking about with the animated. They have really strong jaw lines and stuff.
Yeah.
So it just kind of sets them off like a little bit nicer.
And it works too with the figurine because I used his comic parts, part of the soft goods that are actually the plastic part is from his comic book look. His shoulder pad I took off of one of his comic figures and attached that. But then there's his bracers. One of them I actually cut out of Sintra and like heated up and shaped and everything, and then glued it down, put some green stuff around it to give it more character. And then the wraps I did my little, which you saw in the video for the speeder challenge is my tape. I put down painter's tape and I apply white over it, let it dry, put a couple of coats, and then I cut it into thin strips to make it look like wraps. And that's what I did for his wraps.
That's cool, man. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this great. This ship is like killer. I love it. I love that industrial look to the X-Wing. That's so cool.
Yeah,
I like the guns.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I obtained that through a trade. And I thought to myself, like initially I was like, man, I'm just going to make this an X-Wing that's just like a flyer, a little get back and forth. And then I started building the world in my head. And I'm like, well, if Famine's going to be moving products around, he might need a security detail, but he doesn't want to have, blasters all over the place. Put a couple of rockets on there, one blaster, and just put everything into the engine. So on the back, there's a bigger engine. There's a droid, the droid is hooked up. And in my lore, that droid can help, program that engine and push it to its absolute limit. So if, say, something happens, he can either get out there kind of like they scramble F-16s, F-22s when there's a crisis, or if they need to move a product and they're moving, with a fleet of ships, he can just hang out. And when it's ready for combat and he needs to drop in, gets in, he's a distraction, pace car, they can chase him, an attention grabber. And that's why I painted caution stripes all over the thing. I want that thing to stick out. I want it to be an eyesore so that people are like, hey, geez, look at that thing, not even like it's a hunk of junk, but just like, oh, that's weird. And then, when it comes time for a fight, everybody's paying attention to that so the other ships can get away.
Well, that's what I always love that. Like, and I've done a few, like a TIE fighter and a big like AT-AT crane and stuff. But I love that. I don't know. I buy rolls of that industrial striping on Amazon and stuff like that, and it's like it's harder to paint than it is to tape down. But
Wait, what? You can buy this stuff? I've been painting this stuff forever.
well, you buy it's like a duct tape roll, and it's like already done with like the black and yellow, like kind of angled lines or whatever. But yeah, I guess you could cut it. You could cut it into strips. It's actually yeah.
Hobby shops have it for models for like 28 millimeter, 1/18th scale. Like if you want to go, or not 1/18th, excuse me, 1/82nd scale for HO. There's all sorts of caution tapes out there that you can buy in different sizes.
I feel like sometimes I'm like one of the artists on like the street when I'm in my garage because I'll have so many spray paints going and I'll be like, and I'm not taping stuff off usually because that's what AMREC is, right? So it's kind of like a board held up against here. I hit it, then I move the board, hit it another color. You know what I mean? It's a lot of that. It's a lot of primer type colors and that yellow and black stuff. And it's just, I feel like someone should be filming this when I'm like, and then, but it doesn't come out beautiful like that until I bring it in and then do the details. But still, that's how it feels sometimes. I'm like, how they do that stuff, like on the reels and like the stories and all that stuff, where there's like a minute clip of someone doing something. Like, what's that going to be? And it's like some crazy galaxy picture or something. So, yeah.
And this next one here, this is definitely my jam. I love Mandalorians like so much, as I'm sure the rest of the world does now that the Mandalorian's got 3 seasons in. So.
That's the poisoner right there. That's the little sneaky assassin who has a Compsognathus, a compy, and they have a poisonous bite, and he uses that to his advantage, and he'll just walk through a crowd. He's got it trained to hit his mark, and when that thing sees the mark, it just gives it a bite. And that's enough to poison it. That person might go home, and then all of a sudden they're, God damn, I'm not feeling so well. I'm going to go lay down, and they never wake up.
So his
gimmick is super deep, isn't it?
I try.
It's like, no, I mean, like, not just story. I'm talking about, like, deep. Like, there's so much stuff behind him, and, like, I feel like he's not up in front. Like, so it's pretty deep. Like, it's quite a ways.
Yeah. It's a big, I think the main 2 shelves are 6 feet long, and they're about 2 feet wide, maybe a little wider. So there's just a lot of depth of field. And also, like, when I try and take a nice picture. Not always successful. You'd think I'd learn. But, sometimes you can fudge it, and it's one of those things. But yeah,
dude, I have no idea what I'm doing when it comes to photos and all of this. I feel like we're just faking it, dude. Like, I really don't.
Guy, I don't know what I'm doing, and he's just putting up these like awesome toy photography photos with smoke and shit.
Dude,
like, I don't know.
I'll be 100% honest with you. Like, and I don't use auto; it's all manual stuff. But just like maybe 2 weeks ago, I was talking to the non-artistic. We were doing a video chat, and he's like, "What kind of camera you got, man?" And I was like, "I got the Nikon 3500." And he looks up how to like use the ISO and stuff because he has a Canon. And he's like talking me through how to do ISO, and like I'm learning 2 weeks ago how to actually do stuff, and then I forgot it all. So it's like I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm just like, does that look all right? And then I just try to make sure, like, for me, like, in a lot of us that are world makers, world builders, like, everything is very practical. There's not much editing that we should have to do. And some of the shots I do, and not so much this because I haven't took many shots of that, but of AMREC is with the phone, because I can get in there and do certain angles that you just can't do with the camera, And like where gimmick would be great for, I would just love to be in there with the camera and be like, like for you, Starboy, everyone's would be fun to jump into. I mean, Brad has probably the most depth out of all of us when it comes to, like, he can't even get to shit. Like, that's how deep his stuff is.
You need one of those claw grabbers to get in there to get some of his figures.
Oh, yeah. I think they sell them for, like, the elderly so they can, like, grab their remote and stuff like that. And then it's funny, too, because I'll go into places like, the dollar store, thrift stores, and the stuff you're buying is so completely freaking random that it's like I just always wonder what the person at the counter thinks. Like, literally, I went to the dollar store, bought a ton of these dollar store Jengas, and then when the girl asked me what they were for, I said for world building. she like went silent. She was like, didn't even know what to say after I had said that. And it's funny. I always wonder what people are thinking when you're going through the checkout. Thank God for self.
And I was talking to Famine the other day. He's talking about stuff that he was getting and that we were picking up. And I was like, dude, I got this like Imaginex thing. So I got this Imaginex thing, just a ton of junk from the secondhand store. And the lady's like, oh, what are you doing with all this? So I had like a DVD player up there and like all this stuff. I was like, I'm gonna take it all apart. I had an awesome $2, maybe it was $1.75. It was like a package of just pool parts. I was like, shut up. Like that is so perfect. So grab that. She's like, what are you doing with all this? And I was like, I do world building. And she's like, is that like toy photography stuff? And I was like, no, but I was like, have you heard of that? And she's like, actually, I was in my apartment the other day. I went down to go to the pool and a guy was down there and he had a figure and he was splashing water on it and like taking the shot, and I was like, really? And then she's like, yeah, it's in my apartment. I was like, no way, man. There's people actually doing that around me. Like, that's crazy. Because I live in the middle of nowhere.
Got his address so you could add one.
Yeah.
He's just gonna be driving around looking for a pool. Like, you out there splashing your toys?
Like, I found a friend. He's like, dude, I don't like people. And then I was like, okay.
No, but door, like, he's like, what the hell do you want? I heard you like take pictures of toys. He'd be like, what? Like he'd be like some kind of creeper or something like that.
I'll go to jail. It's fine.
Hey Pirates, what's going on, man? I'm glad you made it out tonight.
What's up, Pirates?
His stories are nuts. This guy needs to like write books. Like, wow.
Well, Famine has, right? Like, I want to talk about that a little bit. Like, you have stuff on Amazon, don't you?
I do have. I have a collection of short stories. They're zombie horror. Some of them are not scary. Some of them are just little slices of life stories. But that's kind of my jam. I love zombie horror and, ghouls, zombies, undead, that type of stuff. I have a few books that I'm published in through Black Ink Fiction that I'm in collections of other stories with other authors, a bunch of tremendously talented people. You can look up my government name, or you can just go to my link tree off of my Instagram or on my YouTube page, which is also available right there after this video. Don't leave now. But my short story collection is called Tales of the Undead, and it's available on Amazon. I think it's like less than $10 now, and it's a great way to support a local author, but also, support me and my strange habit of buying cheap things and turning them into some pretty cool stuff. And book sales are really good, considering that the book's been out for over a year now. And, I still get 2 or 3 I get 2 or 3 a month of people picking up my books or renting it on Kindle. That's also something you can do that helps me out. And
that's awesome,
it's pretty great. And I have about a quarter of a novel. I had half, and then my editor wanted to get a hold of it and get a jump start. And so it's been whittled down. So I have a long way to go, but I am writing a novel that will be out sometime. And it's something that I'm looking forward to.
Have you ever thought about or been approached to do like any type of TV stuff or animated or anything like that?
No.
Have you ever thought about doing like screenwriting or anything, or taking your stuff and turning it to that?
For sure, I have thought about screenwriting, and I've spent a little bit of time researching the how-to and like the ins and outs and how you block out stories and make them, present a treatment so that you can get it, get it in front of somebody, come up with your drafts and all that. But it's at this point for me, there's more fun in the descriptive elements that I can tell, and I can do a lot more with, a keyboard and some paper than I can with a film camera or, somebody with the budget for the things that I would need to do or want to do.
Yeah, because you'd probably want a lot of control over, what's coming out, so that'd be also tough. But I know Jason from Spiro, him and I a long time ago were talking about, before he did the 6-inch stuff, we were talking about, I was like, dude, that'd be awesome if like Prime, this is a while ago, I was like, that'd be cool if like Prime would be interested in this or something, like an animated version of Animals. And he was like, that'd be so awesome. And then like 6 months later, he put up like a spoof thing about it. And I was like, dude, hell yeah, it fucking happened. I called it. And like, I was just jacked. He was like, it was actually April Fool's thing, man. I was like, what? You son of a. But the opportunity is always out there, man. Like, it's crazy. Like, you could be bringing what we're doing into, onto a series or something. You never know.
Yeah, for sure. And there's so much great sci-fi, and I will eventually write something science fiction. I have a couple of stories just pinging around in the back of my head. But there's something about the zombie horror that sticks with me, and just that I don't know, maybe it's because of how the world is now, but that idea of survival and that glimmer of hope that people have in those stories, I like it. You know, even when things are terrible, I love the notion that maybe things can get better. Maybe you can survive. Maybe you can press on. That's what a lot of my writing is about, even in the stories that are horrible or funny or whatever. Like, there's that little bit of hope, I think, that is, you know, instrumental to those stories. Because, like, I don't know if you've ever, Cormac McCarthy, great author. I don't know if you ever read The Road or saw The Road. I needed a prescription of Xanax after I saw that movie. And I get that it was realistic. And I understand that that was probably the most realistic end of the world scenario of just people surviving, and just how, man, if
I don't know, man. I've seen
that was for me. The Road was like pretty rough to watch. Like, I did overall enjoy the movie. And like you said, I get that it's realistic and stuff, but my jam is more like I love the Book of Eli, and like that little twist at the end. I was like,
fantastic film.
That's awesome. That's like such a good movie.
Yeah.
Dude. And I think
like, you can take it too far where it's too depressing. It's just like, oh.
But having the hope is where it keeps it off that. But I think like there's a lot of people that fall into horror zombie because it's not like everybody's into that. You know what I mean? It's not like you're kind of catching everyone's attention with that. It's like, it's not just, let's say like comedy, sports, whatever. It's like everyone loves that. Like somebody, like 1 out of 2 people are going to like that. You know what I mean? Like it's a pretty big net. It's pretty awesome.
It's a great way to connect with people, though. That's the flip side to it. It's like, it's almost like going to, not the same thing, but it's like when you show up at a convention and cosplay, people that aren't even you know, Josh, people that aren't even cosplaying the thing that you are, they want to talk to you. And it's the same with like having a genre that I love so much, like zombies. People tend to like something. Oh, hello, friend. You got a special guest on there.
Here's your meow meow.
People,
we just got another little kitten, so it's like hissing at the other cat.
Oh,
they'll be friends eventually, but.
Yeah, that one's those mother effers.
That one's cute. That one's cute, and we named the new one Zelda. So there we go.
It's awesome.
Cat fest.
I love when people like Zelda, the little green guy. I'm like, no, not the guy. Not the guy. It's not the guy. All right.
Yeah, sorry. I cut Famine off there to talk about feline invaders here.
No, I'll open the door and let Snowflake in right now, and she'll come and sit right here in front of the camera so you can't
all
see
the
me.
cats get on the camera and start fighting.
Dude, so can I just talk about the speeder again? All right, so I did not know how. I don't know how you were gonna pull off a 10-minute video about a Tic Tac container, bro. I was like, this ought to be damn good, bro. I want to see how you can stretch this, because when you opened up with the like, so Tic Tac container. And I was like, oh, God, here we go. This is going to be long. But it was interesting, man. Like, the whole time you messed up, or you thought that you messed up at some point. And you're like, so we're going to go this way with it. And, like, and then how you're talking about, I think you were talking about how you would trace things out sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
I'll take, like, that's so simple. I've never thought about that, dude.
If I was going to use this bottle, this Warpair Vallejo paint bottle to build something, and I just, like, I only have one of these, right? If I start building on it, I could screw up. I could scrap the whole thing and just be done with it and be like, damn. But I can take this and trace this on a piece of cardboard 5 or 6 times, and I could sit there and I could cut them out, and I could, you know.
But you say like you move it to kind of like
change the orientation, you know. There's a million different ways that you can do it just by tracing it on a sheet on the back of a bill that you're not going to pay. You know what I mean? Like, or the back of a speed parking ticket that you found it on your dashboard.
But dude, if you could take that with you all day and just stare at it at work, like just like, what can I do with this? And then something that you see might bounce and inspire off of that. It's like, that's such a good idea, man. And it's so simple, and I've never ever thought of it. Like I said, I've been doing this stuff for a long time, and I'm like, oh wow, I've never heard someone say that. Awesome, dude.
Yeah,
like, and that's what I'm saying. I was like, this Tic Tac thing really turned into something, man. I was impressed.
Storyboarding. It's essentially like very minimalistic storyboarding that you're doing. You're going to tell a story with the object, so draw the object. So that's what I do. I just, put the thing on a piece of paper and I might trace it out and I might sit there and look at it. I might shade it and make it look realistic and kind of just lose myself in that process and then turn it into something. There are other times where I straight up just raw dog it, grab it and start gluing things on it. I'm like, okay, I guess that's like that now and go through. But a lot of times I will, you know, if I don't draw it, I'll take a picture of it on my phone and, you know, kind of mess it around and rotate it and, you know, look at it and just like come up, like you said, check it out during the day and just think like, damn, you know, what can this be? Where, you know, how can I apply this? And, you know, I get some really cool stuff. Like I've used model railroad parts that were given to me, or, you know, not model railroad parts, but 187 scale pieces on gimmick, because I'm like, you know, these are little industrial pieces. What can I use them for? Well, Greeblies instantly. You know, that's the first thing. I can use them as Greeblies. I can use them to support signs that I have hanging down from things. You know, there's a million different uses, and it's just a matter of applying them and, you know, taking them and looking at them and like, no, it doesn't orient really well this way. It's too wide. It's not going to fit here, but I can turn it this way, and that looks pretty cool.
Dude, and I don't want to like blow your head up too big, but it reminds me of when I have the Star Wars like books, you know, like where they show like the dioramas and stuff, like, you know, big thick ones, like about the movies and stuff. And then I was recently watching like those docu-series behind the scenes where they're talking to the Dio guys pretty much. And that reminds me so much of like when they talked about they're just grabbing like tanks, like model kits, and they're just putting it on top of the Millennium Falcon, and that's how it just turned out, man. And I was like, that reminds me, like that's super connected for me.
Yeah, I can't lie and say that I wasn't inspired by that and like other kit bashers, but essentially that's what.
Dude, that's all of Star Wars was. Yeah, was a kit bash, bro.
They had access to a bunch of old model kits and time.
And I'm saying, like, if anyone hasn't watched that stuff or read about it, like, if you're about to fall asleep, you're like, I don't got shit to watch. Click on one of those, and you might like be, oh shit, like, you know, you're going to sleep anyway. Just turn it on. And you know, see what you get.
Yeah, there's a really good one on Disney Plus that
that's
Empire Dreams, where it's like, I think it's like almost 3 hours long, but they go like right up, I think, to, I don't know, episode 2 or Phantom Menace. But basically it's focused on the original trilogy and these guys like, you know, like basically building like computers and like their models.
Yeah, dude.
Completely from nothing. Like those things didn't exist back then, and they were like, well, we have to make them if we want to do what this guy wants us to do. So
but and then they made super glue, bro. they were the first ones ever to make super glue. Like,
I wonder what they do. They would add like a bunch of different glues together, and it just makes.
No, they had like an adhesive that they could only get because the guy worked at a certain place, and then he mixed it with something else, and then he started dabbing it, and then the whole time like, why weren't we using that? And they started using it for everything. But they created the first like super glue. It's crazy.
I didn't know that.
It's in one of those things. Like if you guys see those documentaries about like the Dio people and the ship makers, any of that stuff, it's in there. But it is interesting, and that connects right to what you're talking about, man.
That's cool.
Like it's crazy. So you're on the same brain wavelengths as those guys.
I try to be. It's just, again, it's telling a story just visually for me. It's I take an item and I look at it and I'm like, all right, what the hell am I going to do with this? Where am I going to put it? You know, what can this be used for? Do I hold on to this? Do I have something in the back of my head that I'm going to apply this to? Can I set this off? Can I put it in a box for later? You know, I finally got mostly organized. I say mostly because like what Josh and I were talking about is I went yard sailing. Last week, our town had a big sale, and I kept myself at a budget. I think my budget was like $27, and I actually came in a few bucks short. But like,
so cheap, bro.
I am a slut for savings. I love it. I absolutely love not spending money on this stuff. And this, I got a bat cave. It was like not a 4 foot.
That's what we're talking about.
3.5 foot tall.
Yep.
Batman, and you open it up and tilt his head back and all this other stuff, and there's just all this bat cave. And I took the thing apart, and now I've got all these platforms. I've got all these, you know, computers and doorways and, you know, just like stuff. I spray paint that black, rust it up like metal, and put it in a junkyard, or I could actually tack it to the wall. And now I've got a standing platform.
And there's like beams. I don't know if yours, the one that I got, it was just a Imaginext one, but they had like, I got it for like 75 cents, bro. And like, I don't care. But it has like the beams and stuff I can actually use. Like, you know, I can just take the Dremel and just zit, and I can put it in, you know, paint it, you know, prime it, spray it like pink or purple or wherever the hell I want, and it takes up like a little bit of area, like a 6-inch, 8-inch area where that wasn't going to be anything. Now it has more.
Yeah, and this had an elevator that's actually the perfect height from the bottom of this to just underneath here.
Oh,
so I think I have that. I think I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, like I can add that elevator on there, and now I have a way for the characters to get from level to level, and it doesn't feel like janky, like like a less like a play set and more of like an actual world. So I can't be like oh, he just jumped up, or Do
you have one of those platforms by you that you're talking about? Is it like circular, like a cone?
No.
Okay. Yeah, dude. Like grating and stuff.
Yep, it's got the metal grating, cool. And then like there's pieces that I pulled out of it. I pulled everything out of it, but like this, I can paint these up. I'm actually going to cut this middle part because it was like to hold the bat equipment out. But I'm going to cut that out and paint these doors up, and I've got an instant doorway.
That's cool.
Damn. I don't even know. I wouldn't paint those doors because they're translucent. I would put some light behind them.
I'm gonna blue them up with more blue, so they're a deeper blue.
Got you.
The bat computer, I'm gonna take the bat off, and I'm actually just gonna make the screen bigger. Like I don't want it noticeable, but there's an easy to use computer, and I can literally slap whatever I want on the screen.
Dude, score, bro.
Yeah, and that elevator again. I've got all these different pieces. This thing right here, I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know if it was supposed to be a furnace or whatever, but like hit that with some paint and weather it and add some rust. It's got a red handle chip. What is it? Who knows? But it looks cool on the wall, and it's a great background piece.
That is cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I just recently found the giant castle from Frozen for like $2. But it's awesome. And it's all Gothic looking, so I'm gonna make it like a Sith temple or something like that.
That's awesome.
But it's got these huge like archways and awesome like Gothic like architecture, but it's like I don't know, light blue and pink or something like that. So I'm like, that's
cool.
That's got to change. But speaking of changing stuff up, I love this. This has got to be a Joy toy, is it?
That is one of their army builders, and I had never owned a Joy toy figure before, so I said,
"Yo, what's that dog from?"
That is Aegis Station's one of his pup droids. He does waves of them. I actually have another one right here, and that is a Arizona iced tea inspired one, and it's got little cherry blossoms on it.
Oh, I think I have a picture of that one coming up.
And it's helping to enrich the air that's around Gimmick, and that's actually one of those things in Gimmick you'll see in the background. There's little plants inside of glass tubes. They grow them with artificial light, and it helps purify the air and feeds oxygen into the scrubbers that helps everybody breathe better.
I laughed. I saw an Instagram post. I think it was Skybottom took all his pup droids and opened a weed dispensary with them or something.
That's awesome.
I was just laughing. I was like, yeah, okay, that works too.
But the Joy toy I was on Amazon. It was like $15, maybe $16, and I had gotten through work, like I had done a good job, so they gave me an Amazon gift card. I was like, screw it, I'll pick it up, and actually I turned that into
he is so cheap that he is defending himself right now.
I
gave it to me at work, guys. Like
it was still free. It was still free.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is it's like I want to do this as cheap as I can, but here's the flip side, Josh. I paid retail for one of the 5-point of articulation or 6-point of articulation Gomez from Mezco simply because I wanted the head. Couldn't find anybody selling the 1/18 scale head, so I'm turning him into basically Gimmick's version of the Punisher. You've seen I've done some of the Marvel characters in Gimmick's versions. I just figured an alien, ant Punisher. Why not?
Dude, so that's what I'm working on here. You should paint the skull on his face, bro.
I'm actually gonna paint the skull on here, but it's gonna be the ant skull with the antennas.
Oh, dude! If you make that, I want to make like a poster and put it in Amrak's spot.
Sure,
like a cool, like that'd be dope, man.
Yeah, and I kept, I kept the little ray gun that he comes with because I'm like, that's super.
What's his name? Like Punmez or Punko?
I think it's gonna be Gomez Castle, and he's just gonna be. He's going to be the Punisher, and that's just his
Frank Mez.
Because like my Incredible Hulk is a Gamorrean. So
okay,
Yeah, I remember that from the show when we were on with Dom.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's fucking cool.
I love it, man.
I love that guy, man.
The Gamorrean
So cool.
Hulk.
Could you imagine? Man.
I love that you're doing soft goods, dude. Like, and I like that. I did one time. I've done like a full bodysuit for 118. It looks so dumb, but it's on the Bruce Willis Bad Batch guy that I made, and yeah, it's. I shouldn't use the material I used, but I think
those were the videos that inspired me to use the soft goods. Honestly, it was your little Bad Batch that you were making.
And that's crazy because like the stuff that you're doing, I'm like, man, that looks really good. Like that's better than any shit I've done. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that's like I always see that, and I'm blown away by like what people can take from other people and make better. Like, and like I'm glad that that's happening. But hell yeah, man.
Getting back to your speeder contest, I saw this one pic here, and I thought this was like cool as hell.
Oh, dude,
that thing probably goes like 8,000 miles an hour.
It's a little autonomous like taxi, and I've got another car. I want to do another one and like slap a logo on there. But
Brad, that's what I want you to 3D print for me, man. Is those little turbines and stuff, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah. There is actually. I've got a layout set up right now with all the like the building parts and turbines and crap. So
yeah, man.
Those turbines are the hubcaps, bottle caps,
turn them.
and yogurts. I can't turn them. I didn't make them articulate, but you could. It's
who cares?
Super easy. And then the strips of metal are literally just cardstock from a cereal box.
The panel work that you do with your weathering, man.
Yeah.
Like just a line, dude. It's crispy.
And just, I threw that together. And then Craftsman, I don't know if you guys watch Craftsman stuff. He's phenomenal. No. He did a Mad Max car, and I sent mine over to him. I was like, oh, yeah, I just used, I did one of those 6 or 7 weeks ago from the dollar store. And he was like, oh, this is really good. That's so cool. And it's like, dude, for $1, these were before I bought them before they were $1.25, just to show you how, how little you can spend $1 and some garbage and some paint, and you can make a cool car.
No, that's definitely a cool car.
The seat is actually, it's technically a 2-seater, but it's, smaller. So I just took cardboard and made strips to bulk out the seat. And then I covered it in factory. I'll send you some more clear pictures. I can post more, but I covered the seat in fabric, and I just made a hover car. I tucked in, wire covers, which you can see there inside the wheel wells, just cable hiders, different pieces of wire. I stuck it in there and put a little super glue
on.
Dude,
like the detail inside of the wheel well, bro. Like what the, like what?
Yeah, that used to drive me nuts as a kid. Is you'd have these big beefy tires on your toy car, right? And then you'd turn the wheels or whatever, and you just see that tiny little aluminum bar running through it. And I'm like, this is lame. So I was like, if I'm going to put these here, I'm going to pack as much stuff as I can, because it was free, it's garbage, and it adds visual value. It's like with prop making, you want to add as much visual value as you can, production value. If you're doing anything for stage, you want that in there. So I'm like, I can literally take an extra 5 minutes for this whole thing and just pack these wires in and dry brush them with metal, and it looks way better than if I just pop those bad boys on there, which is cool on its own.
Right, but you're right. That extra, because like you said, sometimes you just want to raw dog it and just tack it up, put it all together. But you're right. If you take the 5 minutes to do that little shit, it makes such a difference. Like even when it comes to when you're going to take a photo, you get so much more out of a photo,
And then, but this next picture here, this is like, I love this. It's like probably my favorite thing you've ever done. Like, it's all awesome, but this is like so killer, dude.
Thank you. My Pentaceratops or not Pentaceratops, but my.
That's what I'm talking about.
Dude, that must have been a while ago because it looks kind of bare and gimmick.
Yes, that was like right around the first time I started just painting colors in the background, and I was like, let me, which I wish I hadn't done. I wish I had done it all one solid color and layered it in as I went, but neither here nor there. I can always paint over. But yeah, that was one of those things that I love Jurassic, and while I didn't like it, I loved the aesthetic of Dinotopia. I thought that was like so cool, like putting dinosaurs to work. Yeah. And so I thought, okay, I don't have the money I could spend the money to buy dewbacks and, all these other things and bring them in. But also, like, no one's really doing dinosaurs. No one's putting dinosaurs to work. As you know, aside from Empire Toy Works, he had done that Brachiosaurus with the Wayland Yutani, kit on it, and it stuck with me. And the more I thought about it, and like I came across artists online who had done like I had seen the Beast of the Mesozoic where he was adding like cyberpunk details to dinosaurs, and I'm like, that's kind of cool. But like, what if they were just beasts? And I say just, what if they were beasts of burden? What if a ceratopsian or a brachiosaur was used to like haul stuff and walk through marketplaces and stuff like buffaloes used to? Why not? So I love Jurassic. I have so many dinosaurs. Anytime I see like a dinosaur secondhand or like free on the side of the road, I scoop it up. So I've got pieces to put to work.
I get some of the he's like the black raptor figure from like Jurassic World.
Oh, the Indoraptor.
Yeah, I got him at a secondhand like flea marketplace for like $3, bro. He's the most articulated dinosaur I have.
Yeah,
he's insane. Beautiful figure.
Yeah, what's crazy is those were going for buku dollars on the secondary market, and so when I got mine, I went to pick up the colossal T-Rex. Yeah, I was selling it on Facebook Marketplace during the pandemic, and I was like, cool, Lysol mask gloves, because it's coming from a house with kids too, and they cough all over everything. They're always sticky. So I show up to buy this thing for $6, and the guy's like, here's a bunch of other dinosaurs too that we don't want, and I've got this Indoraptor. So, he gives me a bunch of things.
Dude!
Yeah. And I'm like, this is awesome. So I'm looking online, and these things were going for like $60, $70 loose. And I'm like, God damn, I might want to sell this. I don't like the fake dinosaurs, but now I can use them in outer space because that's like straight up like maybe they were pulled from our.
And he's a bit shiny too. So you might put like a mat on him, maybe repaint him completely. But the details are there. The articulation on him is nuts, dude. Like, I have him up on a building right now, just chilling. Like, he's got like his big foot up on top, and then like it's crazy.
I don't know if you follow him. This guy, I think his name is G Ronan, and he's doing these he always does these crazy stories, like 1 or 2 shots, and he posts a reel. But like he's got G.I. Joe fighting against Osborn, and he's roped Doom in. One of the things he did was he had John Hammond make Indoraptors for Cobra, and like I was like, God damn, like
awesome.
Yeah, I'll have to share the link, but he is just a phenomenal like storyteller, and he does like alternate versions of characters. So he's got like the Fantastic Four from another universe. He does zombie stories, so he's got like 80 freaking figures with like custom heads and zombies and stuff, and like things you wouldn't think about. And he's just telling these little stories with like 2 paragraphs that are so cool, and just mashing up these universes. So like that's why I'm not shy about bringing things over, but I love what you've seen. I love to add my own flair to it. I love to add my own colorway. I don't necessarily have many things that are just like as is. I always like, let me tinker with it, let me change it, because I want it to be my world, and also like I want it to be a little different no matter what than somebody else's.
Yeah. It is, man. I know when I see stuff from your world automatically. Hey, Rad, did you want to do the pinup thing?
Oh yeah,
I'll start now, or that's for later. Sorry.
Wait, you do have it or you don't have it?
What? No, I didn't get it on. I know I didn't get it in time, man.
What is wrong with you, man? You're the worst host ever.
Canada is on fire.
Somebody didn't send me their pictures till 7:30.
7:30? Oh, him. You messed it up. You're the worst guest ever, fam.
Listen, I won toys on the other show, and I won worst guest ever on this. Sorry, the second episode, I've got it on lock. Nobody can
we haven't handed out prizes yet.
Oh, speaking of not trophies, but statues. Anyone got statues to show? Shout out to our boy.
Oh yeah,
Starboy.
I finally got mine too. He's not. I set him over there, but I should have set him closer.
That's I thought awesome. You said to have these out, man. I thought
he did. He said he was getting up to get it. He said he was get up to get it.
And then I left it over there.
That was the only discussion pre-game. That's the only thing we discussed, bro. Like nothing else about the show. All you said was get the thing.
I had a 3D printer blowing up over here, and then I was trying.
Well, Starboy Station is an awesome dude. and do a trade with him because why not? And I am gonna have this. I don't know if I should like when I unveil the Barbados, if I should have it in Barbados, maybe with Vader. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do yet, but we're gonna do something with him. So I'm not sure where to put him yet. So he's gonna. I want to make a whole scene for him. So.
Well, the statue I've got a whole like downtown core now that's turning into like a more artsy area. So I'm gonna have that statue, and then I've got one that I did with keychains. It's like a Battle of Kashyyyk memorial where it's got like Wookiees and clone troopers all done up, patina and stuff like that. So that's where mine's going. I don't know.
That's really awesome, dude.
I've been saving these little miniatures that were coming with figures for a while to make little statues. So
yeah.
So like I've been saving them Mandalorians, you know, for like either death markers or like tributes or whatever. But like,
yo, do you want some Amrak Island logos? Because I have Jurassic Park Amrak Island logos. I can send you. They're pretty dope.
I use those tiny figures actually in my setup as like the holograms that people are like talking to and stuff like that.
My favorite, talking about Amrak Island again, my favorite figure is the Will Smith. He's Captain Steve from Independence Day version.
Yeah.
I made that and I was like, oh, this is so cool. And then like a year or two later, he slaps Chris Rock. I'm like, you son of a bitch, dude! Like, you're my favorite figure, man. What the hell?
I think Famine's gonna have to release like do a press release. So every video I've been in with him or seen, everybody asks this question.
Oh, all right. So I guess I'm gonna have to do a video. They are vent covers from Lowe's, Home Depot, your hardware stores. They're like $5 maybe. They're made of plastic, and you can get them, and they make like great sci-fi background pieces. And I purchased a pile of them to do cosplay photo shoots in front of, like right at the beginning of the pandemic, because I'm like, oh, this should blow over soon, but just in case.
OnlyFans, guys. OnlyFans. There's a paywall.
Yeah, there is a paywall. But
Daddy doesn't do nothing for free, baby. No.
I might build toys for free, but this right here, covered up from head to toe in a bodysuit right now because y'all ain't paying. Now, but I bought them to use as a background for like sci-fi shoots because a lot of the stuff you've seen, if you guys follow me on Instagram, you know the cosplays that I do are mainly science fiction.
Yep.
So I picked those up, and then the world kind of stopped turning for 2 years, and I just kind of fell out of love with doing a lot of cosplay. But I was like, man, those would be a great backdrop. I want to get the rest of them put up over there. So it kind of like for my shooting, because people who follow me on YouTube and also on Instagram have seen my videos and my reels. Sometimes I face that, my camera towards that wall. It's cool. It's interesting, but it's not enough to be super distracting. So
yeah,
something easy to pick up. And, even if you went to every time you go to Lowe's, you grab one or two, and then you
can probably get them on Amazon now, bro. I bet.
Probably, but here's the thing: is they are hollow plastic, and it's very flexible because it's meant to be pushed into, 2x4 framing. So
yeah,
sometimes they're cracked, which is why
they're
like
plastic.
At the store.
Plastic. Okay. You said they're plastic blind covers.
Vent covers. So the vents up in your eaves, they get pushed into those to protect them.
Yeah, I use the fencing for that, the wire. I use that a lot for a lot of my stuff in world building too. So I was gonna say we're gonna Rad and we're gonna once a month have a group thing where we have like 4 or 5 world builders on here, like once a month, and you get like it's probably gonna be you, one of them. So you guys will be seeing Famine more and more as long as he wants to, and a couple of the other guys. We're going to try to get in here too. Probably Fatback.
How twisted would that have been if he was like, we're going to have some other people on, not you. But anyway, I would have died laughing.
We're moving on.
No, you are one of the people that we want in it. So as long as you want to do that, didn't want to ask you on the spot or anything. I just wanted to bring that up that, you will be part of what we're doing. So, and probably was Fatback and a couple other guys.
Just go slightly off topic. I just wanted to make sure that Jason knew where to find those plates when he went to the hardware store.
They're near the installation.
Near the installation, so...
Hey, Snowflake.
Nope, this is Mama Rosie.
Damn it. You can't tell me you're going to let Snowflake in, and that's not Snowflake.
Snowflake's a big white cat. Mama Rosie is a beautiful min pin chihuahua.
Where do you what state do you live in?
New York.
Oh, jeez, you are right there. Okay, I'm in Michigan. We're not getting as much of this guy's fires. He's got going on. How are you guys doing though in Canada? Are you guys seeing it?
It's the one day it was like kind of weird, yellowy looking, but really it seems to be areas like Toronto and stuff that are already heavily polluted that are getting, and I think that is playing hand in hand with it, right? Your air's already shitty, so you get more shitty air, and you're gonna have double shitty air. It's math, right?
Yep. Yeah. Well, I was making sure everyone's good.
I's over here 5 in New York, so he's.
Yeah, maybe next week we can share the pinup things. I don't know, man. You told me I had to wait a week, so I waited a week. So now I might just have to release them. Also, you don't know how to work Instagram, bro. I tried to do the thing where you have to accept the request and we can cross-share stuff.
Oh, I didn't even see that request.
You old man, listen to me.
Is that right next to the button where you have to turn the crank to start Instagram?
This is so bad. It's on your phone. There's an app you can get for your phone, bro. Okay.
I'm always bopping on Instagram on PC, and you can't do like voice.
I know you are.
So he's got the jitterbug phone that only dials 5 numbers out. Like,
he's like this phone. He flips it open. I don't have.
It still has like the orange writing on it and stuff, and you got to.
No, my stepdad, bro, still has a flip phone. So he's like, look at this picture I took, and I'm like, I can't.
Like,
so
1 megapixel per 18 inches or something, whatever they do. Like, I don't know. But I promise next week I'll get my shit together, man. I have a whole week to get all that stuff.
Hey, by episode 10, we're gonna have this thing locked down. And then also we have to do next time we have to remember to talk about something like your most weirdest thing that you've turned from junk to treasure type of thing. So I want to make that part of our thing. That's then also Brad wants to be like, hey, what can you do with this, and see what your reaction is. Like what piece of furniture or something. So we gotta make little segments with this shit, man. We'll have it together.
We'll get it together. We need to have some corporate meetings and donuts and stuff like that.
I'll bring the donuts.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll drive 4 hours to your house to get some donuts. I will. One day I'll just show up at your front door.
Dude, come to my house, and then we'll drive to Famine's house, because that's what, 11 hours? 9 to 11 hours?
Bring some Tim Hortons, and we'll be all set.
Timmy Ho's, baby.
Usually we go to McDonald's up here. Tim Hortons is kind of gross, actually. I don't know. The coffee's too sweet. They use like liquid sugar and shit like that, and it's just like way too much. But anyways, we're hammering on an hour here, but I want to thank Famine Studios for coming out tonight.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Co-hosting and being on the show again, as it will be going forward until he gets mad at me. He's like, I don't want to be on a show with you anymore.
I will always be on this show without him, even if he decides not to do it with me anymore. So he's stuck with me, because this is the most joy that I get is when my toy life is 118 right now. So I mean, I do enjoy. The other night I wanted to take a picture of a Dino Thunder Black Ranger, and I was so excited. I opened up the box and his shoulders are gone, and I was like, so then I took I busted out Hunter and I took a 118 picture, and I was like, that made me feel great. So whatever, man.
Hasbro's Power Rangers too, right? Like I don't.
Yeah. Yep.
See, I got a Marvel Legends Moon Knight, and he had 2 of the same fists. I was so ticked off. It's like, why the fist?
Some people are into that, man. I don't
know. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming out tonight. Thanks, Famine Studios. Thank you, everybody in the chat, and we will see you
next
Friday night.
Thank you.
Woo.